in the fantastical land of nowhere. Sorry about the disconnections. Facebook's having problems with itself. But there's the winch. It is gigantic. It weighs a lot. I'm testing it out. I may end up taking it back because I don't think it's going to do what I need it to do. But it is doing the stuff that I'm putting in front of it right now, but I'm just seeing it in action, and I don't know. I'm going to try it out in front of you guys. I'm going to let y'all see how it goes. Alright, here we go. I got a wireless remote with it. It's probably really good if you're just doing what it's intended for, off-roading, and you want to pull cars out of ditches and stuff. It probably will do everything you want it to do, plus some. That's the 12,000 pound Badlands Apex winch. It is the best one Harbor Freight had. And I pulled that big old log over there. Alright, I've got my wheels chalked on my tractor because it will pull both the tree and the tractors at the same time. That's what I was trying to get across to people in a group earlier. They knew everything, and they thought the tractor pulled, but the winch does the pulling. That's the purpose of the winch. The tractor is the anchor point. Alright? The winch is always what's pulling. The tractor never pulls. The tractor may get pulled. The bucket may get pulled. The loader arms may get pulled, but they are never pulling in it when you have the winch doing it like I've got it. So it pulled that big old log. Now I didn't do it quickly or gracefully, but that log was on top of that stump over there. Now, I had to cut a few threads off because I missed some when I dropped that tree. I cut that part off too because it wasn't going to pull it out of the brush. But from that stump to where it sits now right here, you can see that's the part on it. I had the chain up here. It did pull that big old stump. That stump probably weighs a few thousand pounds. And, you know, winches are not known for speed. And I don't know why that is. You know, if you're good at what you're doing, you get used to a tool, you want it to go fast. Alright, you don't want, you know, you got, as much as these things cost, they need to be going faster than the speed of a turtle. Alright, so like I said, I think I'm going to try it out today in some situations, because I've got some good situations to see if this thing is going to help me pull logs out of the woods. Now, when people hear that, they hear, oh, you're going to pull it in a straight line. What they hear is this. Well, what do you need? You could just hook the tractor up to the log and pull it out. Like, yeah, I can do that straight up here. But I need to go, but because I have so many trees piled up there, I can't go straight up there. I have to maneuver these logs around to keep working. So I need something like a winch. But the winch is so slow. Think about it, I'm going to return it. You know, because I got snatch blocks. Basically, here you go. We hook it up to a tree. You go to your snatch block that I got set up. And then my tractor's up the hill. You've already seen that. I turn a winch on. The idea is simple. It pulls it straight up there, hits that point, at which point I would disconnect, reconnect to that line, and I would go up the hill, at which point I have another snatch block on the other side of my pile that will turn it around the pile. I'm trying to do very specific and particular things here, so that's why I need it. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that when I'm talking about pulling logs out of the woods, I'm trying to dismantle a forest here. All right? And the way I do that is try to knock out the small stuff first. And then you move up to the big stuff. Because if I were to knock this tree down right here, this big old pine tree, not that I will pine tree, but if I were, and I didn't have at least this somewhere that this thing could drop, where it didn't have, you know, a clear, if I didn't have a clear spot for it to drop, it'd land on this stringy stuff, it'd make a mess. So you have to clean up around things while you work. It's not as simple as I'm going in the forest and finding me a tree, especially in Alabama, because these woodlands are wild. All right, you're not about to drop no tree without clearing around it first, okay? Especially one this size. And then have a good time. while you're wrestling with it. Okay. See, a lot of people will just fight and cuss at something, and they'll get mad at it, and then when they see someone taking their time and working and doing the extra steps, they don't see somebody who realized what they realized and said, I don't enjoy being angry at what I'm doing. I don't enjoy being furious at the experience. I want to experience something in a pleasant way. I don't want to traumatize myself because I skipped a few steps. Them few steps that people skip in things are the price for peace in the situation. All right. If I come in this forest and I go, I'm King Kong, I don't want to be doing this, but I got to, and I go in the middle of that brush over there and I get that big old tree and I cut it. You gonna fall in briars and all kinds, because you didn't take the time to cut up around it and make the work area neat, safe, and pleasant to work in. Instead, you just ran at it like a wild animal. Well, I forget that, because I used to do stuff that way, and then I realized, if I do the few extra steps and I just do and I just do it like that. Skill makes you fast, not flailing around and jumping around like you're on fire. I put it that way. Learning is painful. I'm not saying anytime you have to learn something or something new, it's not going to be frustrating, because it is. But once you do it, you learn. And you can do it in a peaceful way, in a better way, in a more pleasant way. You'll have a good experience you'll want to tell people about, instead of, I hated every day of my life because every day of my life I did things that I didn't want to do. Well, that's your fault. Can't nobody tell you what to do on this planet. They can't. You always decide. And so, like I said, the winch does work. The Badlands 12,000-pound Apex winch from Harbor Freight, $600. The mount is about $80 if you want to just plug it into a receiver. And you need wire. I think it's 2-gauge wire, but I took some jumper cables, because their 2-gauge wire was like $40, and they had some jumper cables for $8, and I know it's not the right gauge, but it works. It works. I mean, it's plenty big enough to transfer some current to something without catching on fire. I mean, the thing, like I said, if you're just taking it off-roading and you've seen it and you said, is it worth the money? Is it worth it? Yeah. It's not, I don't think it's going to work for my application. But my application, as I explained, is not yours necessarily. When you have hundreds of logs to pull out of the forest, hundreds, if not thousands, by the time I'm done, you don't want to jump up and off. You don't want to jump on and off of your tractor, out of your truck, to rehook something 100 times. You want to be able to find something strong enough to, if I pulled these into a pile, which I'm doing, if I pulled them into a pile, rewrapped them, and then pulled them out as a gigantic, and then hooked them up to my tractor, and I pulled all of it with my tractor out, that's another matter. But people don't really understand that some people are trying to do amateur logging in their backyard, and we don't have millions of dollars to go get some equipment. We don't want to go rent it. We want it. And some of us, the reason we don't want to rent something is because if we break it, it's ours. If I break something I borrowed from somebody, even if I paid to rent it, even if I got the insurance on it, I would still feel like, oh man, these people are never going to let me borrow something again. I'm a knucklehead. It's the same reason I won't go rent like a bulldozer or excavator, because I don't know what's in these woods. See this creek right here, this creek bed? Used to be a creek, probably used to be a wonderful looking creek. If I drove a bulldozer straight through here like yippee-yi-yay, yippee-yi-yo, I would have hit that. That bulldozer would have gone tank. I would have had to call a wrecker to come out here. I would have had to call the insurance on it if I broke something. It just, I don't know everything about the land, and you know, you don't want to learn knowing somebody trusted you enough to borrow something, rent it, whatever, and you break it. It's just, it ain't worth the stress on that level, so I do it another way, you know. And so another thing about this winch though is my body is not in the greatest shape anymore. You know, it's a wonder I can do the things I can do, but it hurts and whatever. Blah 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 blah. Woe is me. You gotta have a sense of humor, guys. So if I have this winch and I have this wireless remote, if I undo this log, and I've got a bunch of them this size, and if you look around, that's mainly what I got here is logs like that. Winch is perfect for them. It's just not fast enough. And as much as it costs, I need something that moves as fast as I move, at least. You know, I can't be sitting here and, I mean, I'll turn it on and show you. You'll get it. Okay, it's on. You got to hold this for 5 seconds, by the way, when you're in wireless. Really 6 until that red light comes on. Because if you're like me, you clicked it and you thought the battery was dead and you're like, how do I replace that? And you just whatever. So, we got our log hooked up. Here we go. And you see this? It pulls it. It's doing what it's supposed to. I'm going to fire it off. I got my wheels chalked, guys. My tractor is on an incline. Okay, all of the weight is on the front of it. And that means that if you don't chalk your wheels and you're trusting that parking brake, and this thing yanks that and the vibration maybe pops that parking brake lever and it releases, that thing will fly down this hill. It will be flying. It will be flying before you know it. And it might hit somebody's house. It might crash into something at the bottom. I don't want to find out. Chalk your wheels. Do it even on a flat surface if you're going to be yanking something like this. Don't trust that parking brake. Vibration knocks parking brake loose, and like I said, you don't know what's about to happen. Maybe you can time it and you can jump on that thing and slam on the brake. Maybe you try doing that, you get crushed to death. Maybe you just let it fly down the hill, it crushes somebody to death. Safety, it's important. So, you see it works. It does what it's supposed to. It'd pull that log too. Now, you know, it will pull that log too. But it does what it's supposed to. It's just slow. It's just incredibly slow. And I kind of knew it was going to be slow, but I said, well, let me get it and let me watch. You know, it's got, I can't keep saying how strong it is, all right? You get the idea. But if the cool thing about it, though, really I want to try it out, see if maybe I want to keep it or whatever. Another thing is you really need to have I have the machine off so you can hear me talking, but when you're running this thing, it pulls a lot of power. You'll kill your battery if you don't have the engine running. All right? And basically, the cool thing about it is, though, I can hit the reverse button, and while I'm pulling on that, I can pull this back out. Now, if I'm dealing with trees like that and like those, and I need to get them together in a pile, and that one, all I have to do is be able to hold reverse and pull that out, and I won't even have to wrap the green chain. I can just loop that around the tree I want, or the trees, and pull them together into one pile, and then when I'm ready, I can rewrap the whole pile, pull them on out of the woods, or hook them up to my tractor and go. So, that alone is why I'm kind of considering keeping it, because I can make this thing do the heavy lifting for me in the woods. After a day of picking these logs up, my body hurts more than, you know, and I've been doing this for a month now. My body killing me. I'm cranky, I'm angry, I'm tired, it's hot out here. It's a spiritual practice, and I keep failing the lesson. But I'm out here, keep trying. So, you get the idea about the winch. That's my winch, that's what I'm doing. And, maybe I decide, you know, I can use this thing after I use it for a few hours, a couple days. I got 90 days to return it. But I'm feeling like I'm probably going to return it. Because I got the Harbor Freight credit card. I got a $900 limit on it, and I bought this with it, and I bought the mount, and I bought, you know, the receiver. I bolted down into my bucket to hold that winch. And if you're doing this with your tractor, listen to me. I'll give you a pro tip. You are like an operator of a piece of equipment, like a tractor, right? Even if you're driving a truck around or a car, you have to get a feel for that piece of equipment. You have to know what it can do. You have to know what it's doing. That means this. Whenever I was yanking on Bertha there, before I went and got this longer rope that I had and put it in there, I didn't have my angle right. Now, what does that mean? Well, I had my snatch block, but I had my tractor right there. And so what that means is that the rope was pulled straight, almost like a good angle. Like, you see how it looks like an L now? It was more like that, and then going out a lot further that way. And so it was pulling the loader and the bucket, and that's when I stopped and I repositioned it. That's what the skill is, all right? If you're like some of the people out there who bend buckets and loader arms and everything else, it's because they don't get the hint the machine's trying to tell them. The machine is giving you a hint when it's doing stuff it's not supposed to, that something is wrong. And it's working. I'm gonna try to yank that one together and yank these into a pile, and probably yank that one into the pile. And then I've got one more I want to try it out, and I'm gonna go take a break. That pine tree right there that I cut down, that one right there, across the way, it's a big old pine tree. I'm gonna wrap that chain around it, and I'm gonna see if this thing will yank that pine tree out of there, because it's nowhere near as heavy as that. And if it'll yank it right out of the bush with all them branches on it and everything, more reasons for me to consider to keep it. But I got to get back to work, guys. Have a good day.